Welcome everyone to this week's edition of the GSM Pride Spotlight. My guest this week is Eric Merz, our dispatcher down in service.
Hello.
Say hi to everyone, Eric.
Hello, everybody.
So, Eric, how long have you been at Lufuse Ford for?
I've been at Lufuse Ford. It'll be 2 years in July.
Okay, and you like it?
I absolutely love it. I've been at 4 different dealerships in my career, and this is by far probably just the best one I've ever worked at.
Well, good. Is that you just saying that because you're being interviewed by me?
No. I've been in some other good ones, but I've been in some other really bad ones too.
Yeah.
So
let's bounce back. High school, college. What was your teenage years
I
like?
went to just normal high school, college prep classes, but I always really liked working on cars.
Yep.
And by the time I got out of high school, I knew I wanted to work at a Ford dealer. That was it's the weirdest thing. That's what I always wanted to do.
So have you always been with Ford?
Yes.
Always?
Always, never worked for another manufacturer, just Ford.
Wow.
And I tried college prep and college courses and engineering stuff for like 2 years, and I was just done. I wasn't interested. I went and got my technical degree, and I've been doing it ever since. I love it.
So let's touch on that. So did you want to be a mechanic, or what?
Yes.
What was your?
Yes,
that was how you started.
Yep, I started off as a mechanic. I started off in Chicago at a Ford truck dealer. It was a Ford Freightliner Western Star dealer. It was a truck dealer.
Really?
Yeah, and then I was doing that for a couple years, and they switched me over to the admin side, the service advisor, shop foreman side. And then when I moved back down here, I just kept with it, started another truck store here, and have just worked my way out.
Well, something you don't know about me, and I've never mentioned before, and no, I've never mentioned it to anybody. When I was 20 or 21, I got offered to work at a Freightliner dealership in Pompano Beach, Florida.
Oh, nice.
Whilst I was in the UK. We had a guy that came over to recruit, and actually one of the guys I worked with, he ended up moving over. I didn't, but that was more the story. Reason why I came here was because I felt there's something drawing me to the US, because it was my second kind of thing that said, okay, you need to go to the US. That's why. But yeah, I nearly worked for Freightliner back when I was 21.
I guess I'm just a big kid. I just always liked trucks, and it was a lot of fun working on them and driving them.
How long was you a mechanic for?
4 years.
And then you moved into the rider side, I assume?
Yep, and I was a rider. When I moved to St. Louis, I was the shop foreman, then I was the shop manager, and then I kind of took a little break with the kids, and I went back to being a rider for a while, and here I've evolved into doing the dispatch and warranty.
So when did you move to St. Louis?
I moved to St. Louis in 2001.
What was the reason for that?
We were from St. Louis. My wife at the time was going to college in Chicago.
Okay. So you start off in St. Louis,
here.
moved to Chicago, then moved back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you mentioned kids. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 kids. I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. 15-year-old son, 13-year-old daughter.
And they live with you, or what's the? Yeah. And they're both in high school then, right? Yeah.
Daughter's going to start high school next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to excuse me. I'm not fully versed in the high school, the years that go along for American children. And everyone always asks what grade my son's in. I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Right, I know. And sometimes it's middle school, sometimes it's junior high and high school. Like, fuck, just make it all the same.
Yeah.
You know?
See, in England, it's you go to infant school for 2 years, and then you go to junior school, which is 3 through 7, 6 or 7, and then high school from there on out. Because we finished when we're 16. So you got two kids, both teenagers, basically.
Yes.
And what are their hobbies? I know one of them's a hockey fan, right?
Yeah, my 13-year-old daughter is a huge hockey fan. She's a golfer. She loves golf. She loves field hockey.
Really?
But she can't really get rough doing it, so she's just kind of going the golf way because it's not really as much fun. So she hopes she's very athletic. She's very smart. You know, they're both straight A students, but she's hoping that she gets to further into college, doing at least golf, maybe something else. But
do you play with her?
You know, I've never picked up a golf club.
Really?
I'll go and support her and do everything I can, or I'll take her to practice, whatever she needs to do. But I've never picked up a golf club.
So how did that come about then? Usually kids pick up on what their parents like, don't they?
We were doing a tour of high school for my son, and she just happened to see the golf team out there, and She was like, I want to try it. I want to
Well,
start
that's
playing.
good for her.
Yeah.
It's definitely how do I put it? Like not a normal sport that most teenagers gravitate towards. That's for sure.
Well, that's why I'm hoping it pays off with her doing it. There's not, like you said, there's not a lot of kids lined up to play golf.
Well, and also, especially women these days, that's becoming bigger and bigger with the women's PGA and whatnot like that. It's because back, 10, 15 years ago, it was really non-existent, and now it's starting to become a professional thing for women, which is good. So, okay, let's bounce away from the kids. But so you're a tech shop foreman. When did you first move into really the service rider / dispatcher side?
I was kind of at Broadway Ford. I was a writer and a foreman, and I was dispatching there, and then I moved up to management. So I did a little bit of writer, a little bit of dispatch kind of chores there. But when I left Broadway and I went to another dealership, just to take a break to focus a little more on spending time with my kids, not working 60 to 8 hours
Did you
a
go to
week.
be a service rider there?
Yeah, then I kind of just took a step back, just kind of focused on just my job instead of the whole service department. It was a service rider then.
Yeah.
And I did that for about 5 years, and then I came here, and I get to kind of step out of the rider role and do a little bit more again.
How did you learn about us, and what came to moving into the role that you're in?
How did I learn about
Lou Fuse Ford?
Lou Fuse Ford? Just a friend of a friend. I guess everybody in the business, everybody's networked in the car business.
Yeah, no doubt.
In the car business or truck business, like I always tell people, never burn a bridge, and you watch what you say because everybody knows everybody, and
Where were you before you came here?
I was at Weber Ford over in Granite City.
Okay.
And I loved it there, but it was quite a drive, and I'd been hoping to get something closer to home, and I just had met with Brian one night after work, the service manager, and it was great. Just worked out. Me and Brian had talked probably for 6 months. Me and Brian had talked on and off about a position, and then he said, "Hey, I think I've got something. Do you want to come meet?" And we did, and it worked out great. So, wasn't in a hurry to leave Weber because I knew I had something else already. Just waiting for the right time, and he found it. So
good. How's things going down there? I know you kind of had a little bit of an assistant for a while. Mm-hmm. That didn't really work out the way we'd necessarily planned it. But how's things going down there? The workload decent? I know you got a lot on your plate. How's that going?
The we've got a wonderful workload. We're very blessed to have such a workload that we have to hold it off sometimes. We've got plenty of big work. We've probably about midday yesterday, we really got the wheels turning again and got a lot of the warranty work out of our way where we can start getting some more cars pumped through the shop. My workload is great. Sometimes it overwhelms me, but if it ever does, I just give me 10 minutes and I say to myself, that's why I love the car business, because I wouldn't do anything else. Because I absolutely love to just have it all thrown at me and then just filter it all out and be done with it. And then there's just a feeling about it. I can't explain it that you just know. And that's why you
to
love
sum
it.
you up, Eric, you're a glutton for punishment because not only do you love the car business, you also love Ford.
Absolutely. Less and less every
Don't get me
year.
wrong, I love
Less
Ford
and
too,
less.
but let me tell you, and I'm sure Eric will admit this, Ford from the service side can be tedious at times, correct? Mm-hmm. Especially with parts.
The last 2 years of Ford have just been awful on the side. But that's what I always wanted to do. So I always wanted to be.
What was it that really drew you to Ford specifically?
It was like a family thing. Everybody in my family always drove a Ford. And when I was 16, my dad gave me his old Ford truck, and I was just really, I couldn't have been happier with it.
Did your parents ever work in the car industry for Ford, or
no?
Just because you drove Fords?
Yeah, it was just always a family thing to drive Fords, and I just wanted to do it. I can't tell you why. I don't know why. And then I just always liked trucks, and I'm like, well, why don't I just go work on trucks?
Let's move on to present day and forward. Like I said, everything's going good right now. Do you have any aspirations moving forward, or what's your plans for the future?
Sure. I hope to retire here with Lou Fuse Ford.
We hope you do too.
I look forward to just many years of. I feel like as long as I've been here, I always feel like there's a new challenge. something might be taken off my plate and put something else put on there. There's always a new challenge or something new for me to put my hands around. And it doesn't really seem like it at the time, but then after I do the process a couple times, I realize that I'm kind of doing something, I'm doing a little less of this, but I'm doing a little more of that.
Yeah.
And I like that because I just don't come in and I do the same thing every day for weeks and months at a time. It's always changed and it's always evolving a little bit. So I look forward to, who knows what it's going to be in a year, but I do look forward to staying here for a long time to see where I go in the organization.
Not that this would be anything that could possibly happen anytime soon, but would a service manager or parts manager be something that you'd be interested in?
Oh, sure.
Because obviously you've had some of that experience anyway. So.
Absolutely. It's been a while. I get the rust off. But yeah, absolutely.
Because right now, just so you know, we actually put a lot of weight on you for when Brian's not here. You're really his second in command.
Sure, and I
standpoint.
Respect that. I'm very grateful that you guys trust me with that.
Yeah. So since Eric's been on, he's really taken an extended role to just his standard position, which is really good. Tech wise, we have a pretty good team now, don't we?
We've got a solid group of guys, great guys.
We do need some more techs though. Just so you know, if you're looking for a job, we do need techs. We have plenty of racks. We just need techs. Well, actually, we probably don't have enough racks, to be fair.
Yeah, with parts the way they are, sometimes we don't. But I will say the group of techs we have right now, I've never worked with a group of guys that wanted to help the other guys so much. And everybody's got just piles of training where there's always something that stumps somebody or they need some assistance. There is a whole building full of guys that are just working together right now, and I think that's great. They're not over there talking about what they did over the weekend. They're over there talking about what's wrong with this car and what can I do to get it fixed. I mean, there's a solid group of guys that are always working with each other. They're always helping the younger guys, helping the apprentices. It's a solid group of guys that want to just make it better down there.
Totally want to shift gears a little bit, and this is kind of a weird subject to ask, but obviously we just went through a pretty rough time with the union. Have you always been in the union?
No.
Your opinion, do you feel it's better to work with a union or without a union? Just curious.
Well,
and it's not against anybody, I'm just curious.
No. I grew up in a blue-collar family, in a blue-collar neighborhood, in a blue-collar town. My mom was union her entire life. She was a steel worker. My dad was a steel worker for years. And I really believe what the union did for us and health insurance and so forth, I don't think growing up anything could have replaced what the union did. And I'm very proud, and they're still very proud of it too. We're very proud of that they were involved in the Steel Workers Union as long as they were. Probably the first half of my career I wasn't in the union, and I was on the other side. I guess you could say the aisle. I was on the other side of the aisle. There was pros and cons to it. One of my cons of not being in the union is my insurance. I had an $8,000 out of pocket I had to pay for every year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money. Being in the union, I don't have that, but I guess I see the pros and cons because I see a lot of people that really take advantage of the fact and that don't appreciate it enough. And I think that if everybody put 100% in and gave it their best, then I think the union is a healthy balance as far as their benefits and their pension and so forth. I have a pension, but I also have investments. I have a 401k. I don't bank everything on my pension.
Don't put your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Like I said, it was just I know when we went through that, you were very open with your opinions, and I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, am I happy with the union? No, I'm not. But I'm one person. I'm not the whole group. I mean, I voiced my opinion. I'm not happy with our union at all, but at the same time, I'm happy with the benefits I get from it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's always pros and cons. You're not saying that you would necessarily not want to be in a union. There's just some things you would get.
I think unions are a great thing, but I think unions and companies need to sit at a table and kind of rewrite things and do what's better for both sides and meet in the middle. Instead of just sitting on both sides of the table bargaining back and forth. I think there's a mutual spot where they could go, and the company can change a little bit, and I think the union can change a little bit, and everybody would walk away happier, and the company would benefit and the union would benefit. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't want to put you on the spot there, but
No,
I was
that's
just,
fine.
I just remember we talked a lot during that time, and I was just curious what your opinions was, or if you'd just always been in the union or not. So realistically, that's really all I've got. Have you got anything else that you want to touch on?
Not really.
What's it like working for Brian?
Working for Brian's great. I mean, honestly, if I need a pep talk, I get one, and I just tell him. Well, I told him this morning, I said, I was here for 5 minutes, I checked the warranty schedule, and I am completely flattened right now. So whatever you got for me, whatever you can do, and 10 minutes later, damn me going, I was fine. We got like an $8,000 claim paid yesterday. We've been fighting for 4 months, and then today, there's another claim they're not paying for like $4,000. So it's just never.
So it's a never-ending battle, isn't it?
Yeah, there's always.
That's kind of what I meant with the Ford thing.
There's always, besides dispatching work and taking care of used cars and making sure the guys are producing, there's always this warranty side of it that you're fighting all the time.
Let's put me on the spot here. Is there anything that I can do for you to help you?
No, I mean, you listen to me vent just like everybody else, and a lot of times that's all I need. I just need somebody to listen to me, because I love the car business and I wouldn't have it any other way. I just need somebody to listen to me. Let me get it out of my system.
Let me touch on that. We've been talking about training last week. Doesn't matter what height of manager, let people have a voice. You've got to let people have a voice.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes they don't necessarily need to get an answer to it. They just need to get it off their chest.
Sure.
So that's good.
I don't need you to change anything. I just need you to listen to me for a minute and just say, "Are you okay?" And I'll say, "Yeah, I'm fine." You say, "Okay, well, you get back in there and do your thing." And I'm fine.
Shove it back in your hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's all I've got. Is there anything you want to say to the people at home?
No, I'm very grateful. I love my position here, and I feel like I'm always getting challenged, and I love that because I think it pushes me a little further, pushes me a little harder, and you guys give me just enough in little doses.
Yeah.
That doesn't overwhelm me, and I love it.
Good. Well, I appreciate you. I'm glad you're part of the team.
Thank you.
So that's all we've got time for this week, and as always over at Lufuse Ford, we can replace the car but not the customer, and I'll see you all next week.